5 major fashion mistakes that nobody's told you about. Hello, my name is Lydia and I am your style educator. The aim of my channel is to help you in your own wardrobes by giving you helpful tips and tricks when it comes to styling. Today we are talking about maybe the slightly lesser known styling mistakes that I see so many people make and probably have made myself in the past. However, I'm also going to show you very easy and simple styling solutions so that you don't need to make these mistakes anymore. Mistake number 1 is dressing too much in a theme. So this maybe can otherwise be seen as cosplay or just looking more like a character than yourself. Now, dressing in a theme is a really easy way to put your outfits together because it means it feels somewhat cohesive. However, I always think you need to maybe undo an element of that theme or just kind of dishevel it in some way to feel a little bit more stylish rather than looking a bit too try hard. This is today's example, and I've got to say I do see this quite a lot, but it's this sort of equestrian country trend cosplay thing that's around at the moment, but I think it's a lovely thing to do, but if you tone it in and rein it back a little bit. Otherwise, I think you're at risk of looking maybe a little bit silly and honestly just like a character rather than more natural. You know, if you love to dress like that, then go for it. This video isn't for you if you know what you love and know your style. But if you find yourself kind of doing this and feeling like it looks a little bit off, then just being aware of it and what you can do to make a difference will hopefully help you feel more comfortable in your outfits. So here we've got kind of all those traditional kind of equestrian vibes going on. It's very kind of 90s, this look, which I do like, but in moderation. So we've got the riding boots with the leggings, the blouse on kind of shirt with the pussy bow, the checked blazer, the little structured bag with the scarf detail on, the big pearl earrings that I'm wearing, and a big chunky headband. It definitely has that kind of late 80s, early 90s feel going on, which, as I say, I don't mind. Let's see what we can do to strip this back a bit. I would start off by unraveling the accessories a little bit. So let's take off a few things. Okay, stripped it back to basics and I've undone the collar of the blouse a bit, again, to give it a bit more of a relaxed feel. I've also tied my hair back so it doesn't compete too much with the bow. As a jacket, I think I'm going to add on this loose funnel neck trench. Instantly liking this a lot more. It still feels quite smart, and the check of the sleeves just adds that slight equestrian touch that we had. Going to add in these more modern square Nemo row earrings. Finishing with this slouchy clutch from Flatted and some sunglasses. I mean, obviously sunglasses optional, but it still kind of ticks that slightly equestrian, slightly 90s kind of look, but it's got that more modern feel to it. So a few simple tweaks, but makes all the difference and feels a lot less cosplay, thematic dressing, while still looking and feeling cohesive at the same time. Mistake number 2 is outdated silhouettes. Now, all of these mistakes, I've got to stress, are not about the individual pieces because I own all of these pieces. So I obviously like them. That just shows that it's all about styling. Now, I did struggle a little bit because I don't have loads of these pieces in my wardrobe, especially bottoms, but the concept here is an all kind of slimmer fitting look. Now, if these were skinny jeans, this concept would be better, but I don't own any skinny jeans anymore. So just imagine these are skin tight skinny jeans. I've just had to opt for straight ones with a kind of boxy short. It's not a fitted jacket, but if it was a fitted jacket, even more so would this demonstrate the trend. But again, I don't necessarily have those pieces in my wardrobe. Imagine everything is more tight fitting. I think, to be honest, it does even work with this because I wouldn't pair these pieces together within my wardrobe. And the same with the daintier shoes. It all feels very kind of long. There's no variation in the outfit. I don't think it's necessarily flattering either to have everything slimmer fitting. I think sometimes people think the tighter something looks or the slimmer fitting something looks, especially, for example, if you've got slim legs or your legs are your favorite bit about you and you want to show them off. I don't think wearing a skinny jean necessarily does that. I think a really cool wide leg trouser actually can look way more flattering on your overall body, while still kind of showing off the fluidity of your legs, if that makes sense. So I would avoid these all kind of slimmer fitting silhouettes. A quick switcheroo of the jeans just shows what I mean by this concept. So it is all about balancing and contrasting. So we've got the daintier shoe with the slightly kind of boxier crop jacket, but then we've got the wider legs to just kind of counteract that. So we've got balance on the top and bottom with something different in the middle. It is the sandwich method, but with shapes. I have added a belt to create some definition around the waist. I don't think you need it, but if you are wanting that, I think you can add a belt in. But I think this is a really easy way to update your looks if you're feeling like things aren't quite working. It's probably because it is more of an outdated silhouette. So just swapping to a wide leg is probably a really quick and easy solution for that. Okay, this is probably not the most groundbreaking thing, but fashion mistake number 3 is too many accessories. Now, I've got to say that I talk all the time about the power of accessories and how we should be investing in them and how they add the personality to your outfit. But I do think there's a very fine line between being well accessorized and overly accessorized. And I also think you can go down the route of trying to get all your accessories matching. And I just think, again, it's a little bit like the first point. It feels too try hard in a way. If we want to look effortlessly stylish, then I would suggest reining it in a little bit. So with this outfit, for example, we have the big chunky bangles, a ring, a burgundy belt to match the burgundy bag, the cream bag with detail on, these sunglasses, which kind of are a bit of a statement in themselves, a necklace, I've got a chain necklace, and I've got some quite big earrings, and I've also got kind of quite statement-ish shoes. So there's a lot going on within this look, and I really like the outfit. I just think we need to tone it down a little bit. So I have stripped most things back, but I've kept a few key items. So I really liked the belt with it, and I love the way the flattered belt sits with this Cezanne jacket. I just think they're such a nice match together. The shirt then still breaks that up a little bit. I've kept the earrings on because I think it's nice to have a bit of gold. It kind of lifts the belt and brings the outfit together. I've also kept my gold ring on. I've just taken off the necklace, I think, because we've got a double collar situation. We don't need a necklace as well. And the same with the chunky bracelets. I feel like they were getting in the way of both these sleeves. I have actually swapped to the black bag just because I felt like the other was a little bit too, I don't know the word to describe it, maybe a little bit too repetitive with the blouse, which I think is funny because obviously this is repetitive with the trousers, but I think because it's dark and there's other dark pieces within the outfit, it looks less standout than the bag, and I just think a little bit more effortless in that sense. Sometimes it's really hard for me to explain why I've done something, but I think visually you can just maybe see that it just fits a bit nicer and flows a bit better. For my sunglasses, I'm going to go for these black ones, just again to keep it more simple because we do have quite a lot going on in the outfit already. I don't think we need to add another layer of complication with kind of statement sunglasses. Although these are statement, they're just kind of plain black cat eye, whereas the others brought another kind of brownie color to the look and just brought something else to the outfit, whereas I think these just kind of flow a lot better. Mistake number 4 is too matchy. Okay, I'm going to get very specific about what I mean by this. A lot of people, I've seen this quite a lot, is just picking 2 colors and then just repeating them through the outfit. And I think that's what all of these mistakes have in common. It just feels a little bit too forced, and then I'm kind of identifying that specific mistake. So yes, I do think we're on the right lines here. I don't hate this outfit, but you can see I've just kind of taken this color theme of brown and tan and run with it. And I see this a lot with things like grey and burgundy as well. It's just that two colours. So we've got the tan loafers, then brown jeans, then tan belt, then brown cardigan, then tan bag, then tan bracer, then tan sunglasses. It's very sort of repetitive and just feels a little bit too matchy basically. So a really easy kind of way to break this up, and you can see the difference already, I feel, is by showing a bit of white. So just by fully unbuttoning, I feel like we've made a difference. I'm also going to remove some of the accessories. I think in particular, sometimes if you have a matching belt, shoes and bag with a very matchy outfit, it's a little bit too much. So you might just want to break that up a little bit. So I'm going to swap bags. I've swapped to a brown bag, and I just think this makes all the difference. So it's kind of broken up that repetitive feel. We've still got a look that feels matching, but we've not got matching accessories. Not every single accessory is the one that matches. So rather than feeling very matchy, it feels a little bit more tonal now. And then it's also broken up by the white t-shirt underneath. So I think 2 tips to take away from this is maybe add a contrasting color and don't match all of your accessories. You can break them up a little bit while still having a matching and cohesive feel. And mistake number 5 is putting your clothes into categories. I urge you now, not now, but when the video is finished, to go into your wardrobes and have a look at your clothes. And I think you'll quickly realize that you compartmentalize your wardrobe into themes or sections. So this is what I wear for a walk. This is what I wear for work. This is what I wear to go out in. And you perhaps don't look beyond those categories. But a good wardrobe is one that is fluid enough to kind of take any of the pieces and make them work for lots of different occasions. So by the way, I'm not saying that this outfit is a mistake, but this is just an example. So we've got a going out outfit here. I've got my silky trousers on. I've got my heels on. I've got my black blouse with a shoulder pad, and I've got my statement earrings and my clutch bag. So all of these pieces are evening-y, and there's nothing wrong with this. And obviously some occasions you want to go kind of head to toe for an evening dressy look, but I just want to show you what you could do instead. Okay, so for my final look, I've been thinking outside the box a little bit and decided to swap the blouse for a merino knit jumper. Now, I was actually going to leave it there. I think it's really nice to add in something like knitwear to your dressier pieces. To me, that is where kind of real style comes into play. It just looks effortless, it looks cool, but still chic at the same time. I love things like a big chunky knit with some statement earrings for the evening. I think that's such a cool look. This Uniqlo merino knit I've literally spoken about to death, so I won't go into it too much, but it's a really nice day to evening piece, and I think the fine knit definitely gives it that evening feel, and I love the contrast between the fabrics of something knitted with something more dressy like the silky trousers. And then I played around a little bit with this scarf. So this is from a jacket from Marcella. I wear it all the time, more so maybe in the day than evening, but it's like a little crop jacket with the scarf detail. But I think if you've got something like a big scarf or a matching jacket and scarf, which are so in at the moment, think about how you can wear those two pieces separately. And the same with anything in your wardrobe that's maybe kind of comes as a set. just take that out of your wardrobe and think about how you can wear that differently. So go into your wardrobes after this video, once it's finished, and then have a look at those pieces that you could do this with. So I've just added a brooch, and obviously capes are so in at the moment. So sort of fashioned my own leather cape, which I think is really cool. And again, just kind of playing around with slightly more daytime pieces in a dressier evening way. And you can do this like in reversal. You could do the silk trousers for a daytime look and wear your slightly more eveningy pieces for day. The same with workwear pieces that you typically associate with workwear. You can add trainers with that and a trench coat and make it an everyday weekend look. I think the key really is to not compartmentalize your wardrobe and really access it for all occasions. And I definitely think that is the way to go when it comes to finding your own style and experimenting with style too. So that's all the mistakes. I hope it's been useful for you. If it has been useful and you haven't subscribed already, then make sure you subscribe before you leave the video. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, why not? We are approaching 2 million followers on there, and we're coming up for 1 million on YouTube. So every single person really counts and means so much to me. So please go and follow me over on there too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.